Good morning everyone, I am T. Dube. The title that you see on the screen, Objective English Easy to Hearts Part 1. Part 1 is the name of my newly published books. It is in two parts. Both the books are available on Amazon. So if you want to study these books, you can order from there. In these books, I have written some researched techniques. With the help of these techniques, anyone means anyone, can solve most of the questions asked in the question papers in the examinations conducted at school, college level, or even in the competitive examinations such as Staff Selection Commission, Bank PO and Clerk, management examinations like CAT, MAT, ZAT, or any other competitive examinations. In my classes, I am showing you how you can apply the techniques that I have written in these books and showing you what are the areas on which most of the questions are set by the question framers in different examinations. With consistent practice according to the techniques that I have written in these books, you can very well know most of the questions asked in most of the competitive examinations. This is my lecture number 11. And in last 10 lectures, I have discussed 3-4 grammar chapters and sure-fire shortcut tricks, how you can solve and how you can predict or assume most of the questions before examinations. I would advise you to watch all those videos before coming on to this lecture, because if you do not study those lectures, you may not be able to understand this one. In this class, I am going to discuss the important uses of infinitive, full infinitive and bare infinitive. And at the end of the concept part, I will be doing analysis of 3 practice sets whose level will be moderate, difficult, and even high order thinking skill questions. So let me take you to today's class. Now, let us begin important uses of to infinitive. To infinitive is also called the full infinitive. So let us discuss rule number 42, what it says. The to infinitive is frequently used with the adverbs to and enough. Keep it in mind, to express the reasoning behind our satisfaction or dissatisfaction. So the infinitive to is used with the adverbs to and enough to understand the reasoning why someone is satisfied with something and why not satisfied with something. Look at the given examples over here. The old man is too weak to walk. It means the old man is so weak that he cannot walk. I had too many books to carry. It will mean I had so many books that I could not carry them. She was too tired to work. It will mean she was so tired that she could not walk. He arrived too late to see the actors. It will mean he arrived so late that he could not see the actors. I have had enough food to eat means I am satisfied with the amount of food I have to eat. She is old enough to make up her own mind. The sentence will mean she is matured enough, experienced enough, grown up enough to take her own decision. So what we have to understand or what we have understood is the infinitive to is used with the adverbs to and enough. Keep this rule in mind. Moving on to rule number 43. Some verbs are followed by a question word such as where, how, what, who and when plus the to infinitive. Very important. So what are these verbs? These verbs are given over here. Keep them in your mind and let us understand them with the help of these examples given over here. Read the examples carefully and let us understand. She asked me how to write a letter. Do you understand what to do? Tell me when to press the button. I have forgotten where to put these files. I am not sure I know who to call. So here you can see the verb asked, the verb understand, the verb tell. In this example, the verb forget. Here the verb know. And in these examples, you can see these verbs are followed by the question words how, what, when, where, who. So there are some verbs which are followed by the question words. This is what the rule states. Moving on to rule number 44. After some verbs, we need to include an object before a to infinitive. What are these verbs? The list of those verbs is given over here. What does it mean? Look at the examples given. So in example number 1, we allow them to use our space. Nobody can believe it to be true. What might have caused this to happen? The captain commanded the troop to march. Teachers should encourage children to be creative. So in these examples, allow is being followed by an object. So here allow is being followed by an object, believe is followed by the object it. Then cause is followed by object this. And the verb command is followed by the object true. So this rule basically says that some verbs, after some verbs we include an object and then the infinitive comes. Moving on to rule number 45. It states after some verbs we may or may not include an object before a to infinitive. So you should keep these verbs also in mind. And these verbs are very, very important from examination point of view. If you want to get good command over language, so you should be special in your understanding and knowledge. So let us see these examples. I can't bear him to squander my money. Squander means misuse. So I cannot bear him to squander my money. So here the verb bear is being followed by an object him. I can't bear to see you in pain like this. In the next example, the verb bear is not followed by an object. In the next example, I did not expect you to return. So here expect is followed by an object. And in the next example, he did not expect to see me. So here expect is not followed by an object. So these examples are showing that some verbs may take an object after it and the same verbs may not take an object in some cases. Keep such verbs in your mind because they make you special. Now let us move on to next rule. Now let us discuss the uses of bare infinitive. But before I move on to the uses of the bare infinitive, let me repeat the difference between the full infinitive and the bare infinitive. As I have already explained that so far as the full infinitive is concerned, it is to plus basic form of the verb and the bare infinitive is without to. So what are the situations where infinitive is used without to? Look at rule number 46. It says when an infinitive is used without to, it is called the bare infinitive. Look at the examples given here. You should not squander your talent like this. So there is no to here in before squander word. They may come anytime soon. So there is no to here before come. We help children understand that topic. So there is no to here also. He did not dare say what he thought. There is no to before say. Did you hear him speak anything ill of you? So there is no to here before speak. So it becomes clear that when the infinitive is used without to, it is called bare infinitive. But my question is, what are the situations? What are the rules for the use of the bare infinitive? Rule number 1, 47. We use a bare infinitive after some verbs. So make a memorize all these verbs. These are very, very important from knowledge point of view, from use point of view, and of course from examination point of view, because it makes you special. Moving on to these rules. We observed you enter the bedroom. So here observe is coming and then the infinitive has been used without to. This is bare infinitive. The boss overheard him say he was not satisfied. So here the verb overheard, or basic form over here, there is no to here because of the use of over here. We saw her go with her boyfriend. So the verb saw is followed by a bare infinitive. We watched the witch disappear in smoke. So watch is also followed by an infinitive without to. Let me think for a minute about it. So let is also followed by a verb which is without to. And who helped you solve? Who helped you solve that problem? This word should be solve, not solved. You may rectify it. So it should be solved. It is a mistake here. So when these verbs are used in sentences, they are followed by bare infinitive. Keep using, but there is an exception here. However, these verbs are followed by to infinitive in passive voice. What it means? When the same verbs like watch, observe, or let are changed into the passive voice, then the following verb will be a full infinitive. For example, he will not be late. So here will not be late has been changed into the passive voice, and therefore you can see a full infinitive here. Was any car heard? Here should be heard. Was any car heard to drive off? So here heard is changed into the passive voice, and this to drive off becomes the full infinitive. They were overheard to make that plan. So this were overheard is in the passive voice, and therefore this infinitive is with to. So these rules should be kept in mind. Moving on to rule number 2. The question of why is followed by the bare infinitive when making suggestions. How? Look at the examples given. Why wait until tomorrow? So there is no why to wait. Ask him now. There is no use of full infinitive here. Why leave before the end of the game? So there is no to here. Why walk when we can have a taxi? Why not buy another bottle of water? So when the question of why is used to give suggestions, then the following verb is a bare infinitive. Moving on to rule number 3, which is very, very important from speaking point of view, from writing point of view, from grammar point of view. Have a look. Bare infinitive is used after had better, would rather, sooner than, rather than. Let us understand with the help of these examples. I would rather wait for her than go alone. See here, this wait is coming after would rather, therefore it is bare. We would rather have a cup of hot coffee. So here have is coming and would rather has come before it. So this have is a bare infinitive. I would rather inform you than leave you guessing. So here inform is a bare infinitive because it is coming after would sooner. You had better leave now or you will miss the train. So here leave is a bare infinitive because it is coming after had better. So the thing that you need to keep in mind is that had better, would rather, sooner than and rather than are followed by bare infinitive, means infinitive without to. And this rule number 48 is again very, very important. In the last lecture I was discussing that this use of to, the word to, is very tricky. It's very tricky. Why is it very tricky? Because It can come as a particle and it can be used as a preposition. Let me explain it. The word to that you see here, this to has two functions. It can be used before the basic form of the verb and it can be used as a preposition. You will have to understand its uses. So when to is used before the basic form of the verb, it is called particle. Now look at the list of phrases very carefully. And in this list, the word to is not a particle. It is a preposition. So you will have to understand the difference between the uses of to as a particle and as a preposition. When to is used as a particle, it is followed by a verb in the basic form which is called the infinitive. And when to is used as a preposition, it will not be followed by the basic form of the verb. It can be followed either by a noun, pronoun or a gerund. You must have studied that a preposition is a word that comes before a noun, pronoun and shows its relationship with some other word in the sentence. So here to is a preposition, not a particle which is used before the infinitive. Now after we have discussed the uses of to, you need to keep it in mind, especially when it comes in sentences. I am taking you to surefire shortcut trick number 5. In that trick, you will see that in surefire shortcut trick number 5, you will see how to keep by and large the entire infinitive chapter in your mind and what are the specific areas that you need to remember when we go to practice it. So let us see surefire shortcut trick number 5 that is given at the end of this chapter. Now look closely at this list of phrases. Observe it very carefully. In each of these cases where you can see the word to has been used, for example, admit to, or look forward to, or objection to. So in each of these cases, the word to is not a particle here. It is a preposition. So you will have to understand the difference between the uses of to as a particle and as a preposition. When to is used as a particle, it is followed by the basic form of the verb which is called the infinitive, like to go, to come, to eat, to drink. But in these cases, to is not the particle. It is a preposition. And the word following it will not be the basic form of the verb. You cannot say, I admit to make this mistake. It will be wrong. Here in this case, to will be by a noun, pronoun or a gerund. You must have a study that a preposition is a word which comes before a noun, pronoun or a gerund to show the relationship of that noun, pronoun and gerund with some other word in the sentence. So when you take questions and you see to, now you look at some examples of use of to here. In these cases, what you see? We are not averse to any change. So here any change is a noun because to is a preposition. In the second case, who admits to his mistakes easily. So this word, his mistakes, is a noun. It is not the basic form of the verb. In this case, and here also see, the police have to resort to lathi charge. So lathi charge is not a verb. It is not the basic form of a verb. It is a noun. So when to is used as a preposition, like in the last example you can see, we are close to reaching our objective. So here reaching word is not the basic form of the verb. It is a gerund. Right? Why is it a gerund? Because this to is not a particle. It is a preposition. So this needs to be kept in mind, especially when we are going to do practice. Now look at rule number 49. It says verbs such as make believe and let it sleep can be followed directly by a bare infinitive in fairly idiomatic phrases. So he made believe that he was a genius. So here made believe is idiomatic use. And let it sleep, she let it sleep that she was engaged. Here let it sleep has also been used as an idiom. Rule number 50 is very important from competitive examination point of view because questions are often asked based on this rule. Let us read it and understand. After accept and but, these two words, we normally use an infinitive without to, that means bare infinitive. Have a look at these examples. As for the housework, I do nothing except cook. So here to cook will be incorrect. You do nothing but complain. So here if you are using you do nothing but to complain, it will become wrong. So you need to keep in mind that after except and but, we use bare infinitive. Now it is time to understand the entire chapter with the help of surefire shortcut trick number 5 that you can see in front of your eyes. So how it is going to help you? Let me show you. First of all, it is summarizing the entire infinitive chapter. Read it carefully. You have studied that an infinitive is a form of the verb that appears in its basic form that we have already studied. It is preceded by the to. We have discussed it at length and can serve as an adjective, an adverb and a noun. We have all studied all these things. Common errors in this chapter can easily be spotted by applying the following shortcut routes. So these points that are in front of you are the central areas where most problems are set. Have a look at the first point. If the infinitive is not in the basic form of the verb, it contains an error. We have seen in the previous practice set, many infinitives were kept in ing form. Therefore, they were wrong. Now, point number 2. If verbs like did, let, make, see, hear, named, dare are followed by a to infinitive, it is an error. Why? Because these verbs are followed by bare infinitive. Therefore, use of to will result in grammatical error. And this is the most important area for errors of infinitive. After had better, would rather, sooner than and rather than, a to infinitive means mistake. And the preposition to that we discussed recently should be taken care of carefully. So if you keep these 4 points in your mind while you are moving on to the practice sets, you can handle most of the questions based on infinitive. You can try it. And now we are going to begin practice set number 18. Let us see how to do it. Look at question number 1 and see how to apply this surefire shortcut trick that we were just discussing. You had better sought your parents' permission to do this. If you see this part, sought, it is the second form of the verb seek, and you have just studied that had better is followed by bare infinitive, that means basic form of the verb without to. So in place of sought, it should be seek. Look at question number 2. They would rather sat on the couch and blame our leaders. Again here it is the same problem. Here sat is in the past form, but before that would rather has been used. Would rather is followed by the basic form of the verb, or you can say bare infinitive. So in place of sat, it should be sit. Look at question number 3. We would rather meet people face to face than communicating via email. This communicating is problem. Now you can note down the explanation, though it is given in the book. We see that would rather is followed by the basic form of the verb. So the second clause, than, should also be in the basic form. That means here in place of communicating, it should be communicate. Because after would rather, if there are two clauses connected by than, the verb in the second clause should also be the bare infinitive. So in place of communicating, it should be communicate. Look at question number 4 now. I would rather have somebody punched me in the face than spit at me. Again, you can see here the given verb is in the past form. It should be punch because would rather has been used before it. And we have studied that had, better, would rather, sooner than, rather than are followed by the bare infinitive, that means the basic form of the verb without to. Moving on to question number 5. When I tell you to do something, you had better done it. Again, this done is wrong. Why? Because had, better is followed by the basic form of the verb, or you can say bare infinitive. Question number 6. I had rather see you dead than to see you as you are. Problem is here. Why? Because just before this I was discussing that if the second clause is beginning with than, the infinitive that is used in that clause must be bare. So it should be see. Look at question number 8 now. We help you to choose the right kind of career programs. Full stop, no error D. This to choose that you can see here, to choose, is wrong. Now why is it wrong? Because the verb help is followed by a bare infinitive. So it should be choose. Now look at question number 9. Our soldiers would rather die than allow the enemies to cast their evil eyes on India. Our soldiers would rather die than allow the enemies to cast their evil eyes on India. So here to cast, you see, is wrong. Why is it wrong? Again, here would rather is followed by the basic form of the verb. So here die is the basic form of the verb, and than is being followed by this allow. So therefore it should be cast. Now moving on to question number 10. A small child saw two masked men brandishing weapons in their hands enter the mall. So here saw two masked men brandishing weapons in their hands enter the mall. So this verb is the bare infinitive, and we know that see is followed by the bare infinitive. Therefore this verb is correct. So there is no problem, it should be no error. So in this practice set, what we saw is how to apply had, better, would rather, rather than, sooner than, and what are the areas on which most of the questions are set. Now let us move on to the next practice set, whose difficulty level will be more difficult, that means difficult. So let us see next practice set. Now let us do practice set number 19, and as you can see, the difficulty level of this practice set is going to be difficult. Look at question number 1 and try to do it on your own and match your explanation with mine. We should try to avoid to go shopping on Sundays. Full stop, no error. What is the problem? Problem is this word, to go. Because avoid is followed by a gerund. That means avoid cannot be followed by a full infinitive. It is followed by a gerund. So in place of to go, it should be going. Look at question number 2. Let your shoes dry completely before putting them on. Let your shoes, so here dry word is bare infinitive, which is correct because let is followed by a bare infinitive. So the sentence does not contain any problem. Look at question number 3. Technology gives people the chance use their imagination. So technology gives people the chance. Here use word is wrong. Why is it wrong? Because it should be full infinitive. It is being followed by the verb give, and give is followed by a full infinitive, not by a bare infinitive. So in place of use, it should be to use. Look at question number 4. I don't think it is wrong or a waste of time to pointing out the virtue of good manners. So here to pointing is coming. Do you think there is any problem? Yes. It should be point because it should be the full infinitive, that means the first form of the verb. Moving on to question number 5. Look at question number 5 now. It was tempting to condemn him for his attitude towards the female club members. Problem is here. You can see it is preceded by the word to. This to is particle and this condemned should be the basic form of the verb. So in place of condemned, it should be condemn. Moving on to question number 6. He added, he feared it might prove difficult for the staff losing his jobs to find new work in this area. Let us read this question once again. He added, he feared it might prove difficult for the staff losing his jobs to find new work in this area. This losing was wrong. Why is it wrong? This adjective difficult is followed by a full infinitive. So in place of losing, it should be to lose. So the sentence should be, he added, he feared it might prove difficult for the staff to lose his jobs to find new work in this area. Moving on to question number 7. Look at question number 7. We need to make the club attractive for a wider range of members. We need to make, it's correct. Need is followed by the full infinitive and it has been used here. There is no other infinitive, hence there is no problem in this sentence. Look at question number 8 now. Thinking helps us consider what is or is not appropriate in life. Thinking helps us consider. So thinking helps us consider. Here consider has been used as the bare infinitive because it is not preceded by to. And help is followed by a verb in the bare infinitive. That means it should be the basic form of the verb. Hence, there is no problem in the sentence. Look at question number 9 now. It is as difficult for the very civilized man to understand its charm as it is deny its existence. It is as difficult for the very civilized man to understand its charm as it is deny its existence. Where is the problem? It is here. It shouldn't be the bare infinitive. It should be full infinitive because full infinitive has already been used here. So it should be full infinitive. It should be to deny. Look at question number 10. You had better told her that you won't be able to come to her party. So the problem is in the word told. Why? Because had better is followed by bare infinitive and here it is the past form. So it should be tell, not told. Now let us move on to the next practice. Look at practice set number 20 and you can see its difficulty level is HOTS. So let us solve practice set number 20. Look at question number 1. To help my trousers to dry a little, I opened a window a couple of inches to let a bit of breeze. Here in. Now let us move to this part. Let us analyze the first part. To help my trousers to dry a little. This to dry is wrong. Now why is it wrong? Because of the use of help. We have studied that the verb help, bid, let, make is followed by a bare infinitive. So here to dry should be dry. Now let us move to the next question. Look at question number 2. Those who are active between the ages of 20 and 60 have been shown to be at reduced risk of serious Alzheimer's disease. What is the problem here? The problem is, if you see this to being part, it should be full infinitive. That means to be. So replace being with be. Look at question number 3 here. Anyone can tell us how important it is to sleep well as not pushing our bodies too far. So what is the problem in this question? Let us read it once again. Anyone can tell us how important it is to sleep well as not pushing our bodies too far. So here you can see there is full infinitive. So this also should be full infinitive. So when an infinitive is connected by conjunctions like and or as, both the infinitives must be in the same form. Full means full and bare means bare. Moving on to question number 4. Question number 4 says, given the chance, she would rather spend her time helping to tackle crime than go out on a boozy tour of town center. Let us read this question once again. Given the choice, she would rather spend. So here spend is correct because it is being followed by would rather, and would rather is followed by bare infinitive. Her time helping to tackle to tackle is wrong, because here helping has been used and we have just studied that verbs like help, make, bid, let are followed by bare infinitive. Look at question number 5. It says, these structures made it difficult for investors and advisors pick the best deal. Full stop, no error. These structures made it difficult for investors and advisors pick the best deal. Here pick what is wrong. It should be full infinitive. So pick will be the right answer. Look at question number 6 now. Under thousands of feet are buried a great treasure in the form of fossil fuel. Under thousands of feet are buried a great treasure in the form of fossil. So we do not have any problem here. No problem, because R is not followed by here, so there will be no error. Let us see question number 7. Question number 7 says, Lily saw the smoke on his face and decided that she had better to save her friend. See here. This save has been used as a full infinitive, and we have seen that had better is followed by bare infinitive. So in place of to save, it should be save. Question number 8. This is going to be the crucial question over the coming months, and one that all businesses must face up to sooner rather than later. Let us understand it once again. This is going to be so here to be is okay. This is going to be the crucial question over the coming months, and one that all businesses must face up to sooner rather than later. Face up to sooner or rather. All businesses must face up to sooner. So this to should not be there. This should not be there. I think, let me see it once again. This is going to be the crucial question over the coming months, and one that all businesses must face up to sooner rather than, no, it's correct, it should be no error. Face up to means accept the challenge, and sooner rather than later is an adverb here. So this sentence has no problem. Look at question number 9. We have a tendency to think that we have a perfect memory for things we find we don't do. Okay, so we have a tendency to think this full infinitive is correct, there is no problem here, that we have a perfect memory for things. This part is also okay, and oftentimes means quite often, we find we don't do. So this to is wrong here. It should be we don't have, not to. So to should be deleted from here. Now look at question number 10. As with everything else in the investment world, don't let greed and desire for a quick buck to overrule common sense. So here, overall rule what is wrong. Why is it wrong? Again, let me explain. As with everything else in the investment world, don't let greed and desire for a quick buck to let. So here, let has, we know that the verb let, make, help, bid are followed by bare infinitive. So this set is containing or including high order thinking skill questions. So you must think how to oppose such kind of questions, and I would advise you on your own so that you can understand the pattern, how questions are framed, and especially the areas where most questions are framed by the question setter. So it's all about infinitive. In the next class, we will be discussing another important chapter, that will be infinitive. So let us move on to chapter gerund in the next class.